Greetings everyone, and Great here with another Age Mythology Replay. Small on top left side as a blue Hades, we got Yessin.b. Small on bottom right side as the red Freyr, we got SS_Dark Phoenix. So somebody from the Secret Service. Or from Social Security. Well, at least not the IRS. Well, either way, when it comes to these major gods, of course, we got Hades, focus on ranged soldiers and buildings, get a chance for shades, increase unit hit points, ranged soldiers increase range, fortification increase range, and free blitz's burning pitch, while Freyr does focus on technology and defense. You get a powerful god of power upgrade here, but does get reduced per upgrade. Technology is 50% cheaper, but takes much longer to research. Hill forts and hill fort units get plus 7% damage, primarily the Huskarl and the battering ram and ballista. That's the only three. Building units repairs free, and gatherers and dwarves can repair. So, when it comes to the minor gods, Norse tend to go heavy in infantry because they don't have ranged units. They have ranged infantry, but no, just range. This is supposed to Godi. So, Toxays would be a good call, as well as Hypasus. Seems like a good call for Ares, in my opinion. I am a bit more biased towards Ares over Athena. You get not as great god power, Pestilence. You got decent myth unit, the Cyclops. Phobos Spear of Panic gives your hoplites and Prodromos more divine damage to make your counter unit a bit more effective. High passes enable early and get them increased damage, which does get countered by throwing axemen, which does high passes does counter them. Both horrors give your Toxays increased damage, very nice there. And a Cyclopes upgrade versus Restoration in Minotaur. Restoration is an excellent god power. Minotaur is a decent myth unit that costs gold around the food nowadays. Gold addition was food, which does, I think they turned to gold, so it gives a counterpart because Centaurs are wood, Cyclopes are food, and now Minotaur are gold. This can increase your range armor of your infantry, not very useful versus Norse. And of course, increase your hoplites, increase damage by 10%, and increase maximum range. While it is stronger than Spear of Phobos, but I think the two other upgrades make Ares a little bit better in this situation. But most players go for Athena. This map is hybrid, so we've got to keep an eye on the water upgrades. Freyr does give access to Freyr, the somewhat lackluster Forest Fire god power, but definitely got buffed from Gold Edition. Valkyrie, a decent myth unit that is is a mounted unit that can also heal. Thunder Hooves increase your cavalry and speed and hit points. And we got the early Godi increase hero hit points, which is nice. But Olor is usually the favorite for Freyr. You get the Asgardian Bastion, a Age 2 hill fort. Draugrs, which is an okay myth unit. I've never seen them that great. I think they're probably a bit more aligned on their upgrade here, since they have supposed to have piercing projectiles as an aspect. This increases the speed of your longhouse units, as well as reduce the costs of the Asgardian Bastion, which is pretty nice. And then early battering rams while making the hill forts work faster. Asgardian Bastion is pretty much the nice aspect, but if you want to go for cavalry, you probably need to go for Freyr. Going to fast forward to the economic phase, plus we've got a bunch of fishing boats now being pulled in the field. Temple here. We do have now Olor being selected. I actually don't know how you would actually pronounce that, because technically there's only one vowel, so it should have one syllable, but Olur is 2 syllables, so I have no idea how to pronounce that, honestly. We do have now Ajax and the Scout trying to stab the Ulfsark. Of course, both of them age 1. We do have Ares selected, very nice. Pestilence is not a great god power, it reduces the production speed of your opponent's production structures. Sounds powerful. In Gold Edition, it was much powerful since it completely stopped it, or like reduced it by 99%. Now it's just 50% reduction. It's not great, but it can be nice assisted attack. It's situationally okay. A lot of upgrades to do. Looks like a good number of Herseers, probably designed for favor generation among other things, as well as just the general builders. But I don't think anybody's going for super aggressive. Yeah, we've got also economic upgrades for both sides. So let's talk about the Age 3 upgrades. We got Baragi and Ager. Baragi gets access to excellent god power flaming weapons. The Battle Boar is a decent crowd control myth unit. Let's see. Call of Valhalla, improve Ulfsark's hit points, give them favor generation upon, or get a favor grant or rebate upon death. Let's see. Long Serpent, bless your longbows, cause them to be bigger, which means their target size increase, right? Stronger and fight move when faster. Longbow efficiency damage through boat, so increases to 10% hit points, plus 1 projectile per TO. Efficiency 1, 50. 150, 300. I don't know what those numbers actually technically mean. That's probably efficiency acquired. I guess damage dealt is for that. Swan Array, increase your Erdman, increase melee damage and bonus damage to cavalry. Makes your counter unit more effective being a counter unit. And this gives speed to myth units and favor or health regen, which I wonder if that affects the Titans, the health regen. And it got Ages, more likely the god, mighty god to be selected. You get Tempest. Just Achilles trying to pick off the Draugr there. Draugr does go down. Achilles likely going down. He does have 4.5 movement speed when snared, which is actually, which the other units could. Yeah, Ajax is going down. Okay, let's see the rest of the upgrades. You got Tempest, an excellent mid-range, mid-tier damage support god power. Rock Giants, an excellent frontline tank. Granite Maw, let's see, Feast Renown gives you a little bit of food and health regen around your towns and hill forts. 9 waves improve your hero speed and siege weapon speed. And also, here's the more important part. Increase siege weapon damage by 20% as well as hero damage by 20%. Makes you Ballista a massable unit for an army. And you get free Krakens. And he has queued up Oler. Hades, of course, can go for Apollo or Aphrodite. You got the Underworld Passage, excellent god power. Mintcorn, excellent backline myth unit. Oracle, not very good god power. And so this makes your, I guess that's your arrow ship. Deals trigger critical strikes, targets inflicts extra damage. Actually, not super sure about that. And don't really know the naval upgrades all too well. I'm going to be blunt. Sunray, increase range units damage, as well as giving them a bit of a line of sight around the projectiles. In theory, that should also affect naval units as well as range units. I wonder if that affects naval units. And of course, healing ability. Aphrodite does give you Curse, which is an excellent mid-range god power to just remove certain units out of play. Demon Lion, a good frontline crowd control unit. It's a cat, screams at your opponent's faces, like a cat usually does. You get a heroic ship. You get the Argo. Divine Blood improves your villager's carrying capacity, build speed, and move speed. Improves your villager's favor generation rate, and of course, improve Demon Lion upgrade. Apollo is generally the better call, but Aphrodite has a good case if we have Apollo being selected and being researched. We do now have the naval ships heading toward around the sea. Got some long boats here. Okay, so I guess it's the hammer ship that has that gets affected by the upgrade. I'm not sure. Hammer ship hitting the arrow ship. Arrow ships are good against hammer ships because they have lack of range armor. Hammer ships are do good against siege ships who lack melee armor. And siege ships are good against arrow ships because they lack crush armor. So in this game, rather than doing bonus damage to certain ships, they just simply do a damage type that your opponent can't ignore as its triangle. Blue does lose his fleet there. He does age up. Should get a free Skyla. A Sea Hydra. Got a number of dwarves and gatherers hitting this gold mine. And age up here as well. both players are starting to get some forces on the field. Got triple town center for blue. Red only has the one town center. When it comes to age 4, there's an argument for both Hephaestus and Artemis for Hades. Earthquake's excellent god of power, so is Plentyvault. Chimera is a decent shock troop myth unit, good at dealing damage. Colossus is the tanky one. Let's see. Increase the range soldier damage by 10% and get a bit of poison, which is poison's not good. But 10% damage is nice. And increase your hero bonus damage for myth units. As opposed to the gives his unique crossbow and plus 20% damage. And of course making armory text cost less. I say there's an argument for either. Most people don't really go for the unique crossbow. They're pretty nice against buildings. But the other upgrade does increase your toxics as well as your peltas. So just getting picked off. Got a number of raiding cavalry. He needs to put those sentinels. Yep, sentinels being summoned. Sentinels are good anti-raiding god power. It's not good versus armies. Don't deploy against armies. Some more villagers being picked on off. We got 51 versus 34. However, this does not include fishing boats, which red appears to have more. Blue has a fleet pushing forward, a number of triremes and the Skyla. I'm going to use the Skyla as a frontline tank. Hammer ship here. This will give Skyla some extra hits to start generating some heads, and this is how you get head. Got a siege ship here, getting some good hits onto these ships. The Skyless now does both melee and crush damage, so it should be effective both versus the arrow ships and versus the siege ships. Hammer ships probably will be best bet dealing with it, has lowest crush armor. Or your own myth unit, in this case the Kraken. Right now 54-18. Slow attack speed, so DPS is 15. This Skyla has 2 heads, so it does do 30. Both of these have 80% crush armor. Over here, Shades were summoned. Got a number of Herseers. We do have a number of throwing axe and Huskarls, but mostly Herseers, so Hypasis would generally be pretty good. Toxa's one is pretty good as well. He does have some Hypasis here, though they're Dark Age Hypasis. Trying to build another long house here. Chimera and the Kraken now engaging each other. Got 3 heads now on the Skyla. Skyla will take a bit of damage here. Going for the ships here, going for the instant kill. But we'll give the Skyla a lot of free hits in there. The Skyla, of course, does not have any health regen unless you go for Dionysus. Petro bullets firing away. Got these units pushing forward, including the Cyclops. And the Manticore's there. And here comes a Tempest. Brings in more Sentinels here for fire support. Some more anti-raiding tools. Not going to do great here. And looks like the Sentinel that would spawn over here did not get one field, got interrupted. So 2 of the Sentinels are firing away along with the Fortress. None of these units getting frozen by the Tempest. We do have now Granite Giants now pulling the field. Manticore is going to be pursued by these Herseers. Manticore is falling back. Good micro there. The Manticore is excellent making to keep alive. But the Toxays focus down the Herseer. The Huskarl will slowly be picked off as well. Huskarl's not being focused down, and the Manticore does get taunted. A number of units here. Toxays going to engage them. Achilles units get to the Granite Giants. We got Chiron here. Villagers going to shank the Granite Giant. Apparently the villagers make the anti-structure sound when shanking it. I like that. Because it's a large stone unit, might as well let do the anti-structure sound. Nice little aspect there. Skyla here. Trireme slowly taking on the dock. large number of Toxdays, including some Petrol Bulls, some High Pastus. Raiding Cavalry is going to be overall a good choice in this situation. They won't counter the High Passes, but High Passes don't do any counter damage to the Raiding Cavalry. We do now have the sort of Dread and Spear Phobos. Phobos can give you access to good Prodromos, gain bonus damage, divine bonus damage on your Prodromos, making them excellent counter cavalry units there. A good idea to go for a number of them. And they should do reasonably well versus throwing axemen, say case with the High Passes, but in this case both inadequately counter each other. Looks like some Horkerborns starting to go on down there. I wonder if anyone gets that reference. Was that Machinima? Damn, I forgot about Machinima. I know when Machinima collapsed, they really screwed a lot of their content creators. But they had to do legal battles to get their rights for their own works. Like, when Machinima collapsed, they just refused to let the creators sort of take the works back, because it's not like it was going to be used anywhere. Lots of upgrades here, including Freyr's gift. We do now have Hepatus now being queued on up. And actually being employed in the field. He has a decent amount of favor being generated, 12, so he's over the soft cap there. If he's able to get 300, that will be excellent to get out of second Plenty Vault. I think the second Plenty Vault is something that players should generally focus down. If people go for more, I do not blame them. Raiding Cavalry being brought on back, there's a lot of good targets here for them. The heroes, Ajax and Achilles, taking out the Granite Giant. High Passes shanking some of the Pursuers, and now some of the throwing Axemen. Raiding Cavalry managed to connect with the Toxdays, but the Toxdays in good enough numbers, they can do some serious damage to them. Yeah, looks like Hades doesn't need to go for some hoplites or Prodromos, the current rate amount of Raiding Cavalry on the field. He is going for around hoplites. He does have these medium hoplites as opposed to Dark Age Prodromos. Blue's Assault will end, but he will age up in the meantime. Blue got some Shades as a consolation prize as well. They're not great, but they are free. Right now, those Shades are doing 8.4 DPS with the health of the infantry unit there. They're just basically free. Yeah, they're just free trash spawns. Hades is now aged up. As well, a Plenty Vault has a good amount of favor there and has more villagers on favor. May want to tone it down to 8. He's a bit over cap, but he does have a superior number of villagers, 100 versus 54, so he can pass a good number onto the favor generation. Colossus advanced before, got 5 Pursuers in this region. I do believe the Colossus needs splash damage. And it only has single target damage. I think the Colossus could stand to get a bit of AoE damage, maybe through one of its upgrades, or maybe both upgrades increase a little bit of AoE damage. We got a large number of hoplites in build queue, as well as Toxdays, going for heavy infantry and levy infantry. And we've also got now the Sentinels firing away along with the Fortress. I wonder what the upgrades are. It does have ballistic force for free. Will help out when fighting against a cavalry. No crenellations though. And Red's force will be cleaned on up. Blue's reinforcements came on in, and he had adequate defenses. He lost a couple of villagers, but he can get those quickly trained. He has only one villager queue going, looks like, at the moment. Still trying to repair up the town center. They could shank the battering ram. Ajax is going to be taking on the battering ram now. 10% hack armor, 90% range pierce armor. There's fortified town center going for the architects now. And now we do have some unique cross being blown in the field. Very nice. And good number of these granite giants. You know, actually... Oh, Galen Bersetti now being blown in the field. It is classified as a divine hero, so it is not a myth unit. As I was trying to say as well, the Greeks can have trouble with anti-myth units, but nice thing about Hepatus, he does get can make your unique crossbow get bonus damage versus myth units if he gets that researched well. Oh, and looks like red does back the game now. This is Angry saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay.